Alright, they first picked Jinx. There was no bans on the first side. They locked in Senna Jarvan, which I haven't seen them practicing any Senna. We'll see that. The Jarvan picked good into Jinx. Xin Zhao comes in to add frontline. Ari's a playmaking mid. Humor is obsessed with Mel. It's honestly kind of creepy. I don't get what it is, but this guy loves Mel. Now they're banning out supports to go level with Jinx.
We'll say you
Segue.
said you haven't seen them practice it, but I know Resilient is playing a lot of Senna and solo queue.
It's
So
very good.
yeah, it's very good. So I imagine it's just pro pick, and he's picking it because maybe he feels comfortable, maybe denial.
And maybe they're
It,
flexing it. Who knows? I don't know
yep.
if
Yeah,
KD plays
you
it,
can flex
but
his support still,
yeah.
but I imagine it's going ADC. That's the vogue.
It goes well into Jinx too because it scales exponentially with the game. So you're not
Yep.
going to get outscaled per se by Jinx.
Yeah,
Also
and
goes well with Jarvan because you can
yep.
go Black Cleaver on Senna and it's going to let him do more damage while not having to build that item.
Okay, now will they blind Braum like they like to do all the time?
I mean, it's
It's not bad
good
here.
into Xin.
It's
Yeah,
not
Also,
it's
bad
not
that
into
terrible
Rumble
Zin.
here.
that Rumble ban I'm taking credit for. I had Super play in Rumble. He was getting his shit stomped because he didn't play it before, and his first time was in scrims. And then the assholes on Hisoka counterpicked him with Kennen, but
Ooh.
he was ripping it. Shen is another thing they love because it's like a quadruple flex for them.
Okay, and I don't think I think Senna Shen's probably a pretty solid lane too. I don't think it's
Yep,
bad. So
very. It was even better when you had fasting Senna, but it's still good now.
yeah, they
But I
really
think
did kill
Super,
fasting Senna.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's like the amount of like the chances you get on Soul is so good, and the 10% crit it's unbelievable. You get 2 crit items and you have 100%. Mordekaiser, I think, is in comp is an absolute troll pick because it's good in lane, sure, but you're playing against a guy who's comparable level to you, and then outside of lane, it's just kind of useless.
Can't you just take out Shen every single time in a side lane though, so he
I
can't really
imagine
ult?
that's the
That's kind of the
reasoning
thought
for it.
process, right?
True, but you can always just flip the map. Just wait to see where Mord shows up, send Shen the other way, or Shen can just group it an
Uh oh.
objective.
They're
They choose
stealing
the
the Braum.
Braum.
They're
They're stealing
steal.
it. Oh my god, we get Braum.
What's wrong?
Rel, okay, Braum actually gets crazy value now.
Braum
You
is
want to,
so good into 3 melee. Jinzhao, Mordekaiser, Rel.
and also like their only hard engage is Rel, so if you just use Glacial Fissure or whatever the ult's called, just stops everyone dead in their tracks. But I
Yep.
think keeping the Shen flex alive, they like to last pick support. They like to use KD as his options. He might just, yeah, he just Thresh.
Thresh,
That's his
okay.
favorite pick. He likes
We
it.
wanted to get a high priority pick, so we picked Jinx first, since obviously she's like very strong, and we knew that we were going to go against Senna. So the J4, I believe, was like more of the surprise, and so we wanted to like basically build the draft around the Jinx and try to like feel her a bit more. So we went Xin and Ari, good 2v2 skirmish, and after that, we were trying to figure out what support we wanted to really round out our comp and what we wanted to do, and so we went with Rel. And you know, even though they have Thresh, like bot lane's still a pretty good 2v2 lane. Even if so long as Rel doesn't engage first, I do think bot lane is gonna pull ahead in the early game of it. The later the game goes, though, it'll be very uh tight.
Real quick. Is it? It's what is control what Z in order to zoom out
Oh,
the game?
shift.
Control
Control
Shift
Shift.
V.
Yeah.
Z.
And then
Okay.
mouse wheel.
Yeah.
There you go.
There
Don't
you
go
go.
too far out.
No, no, no. I
On the
just wanted to. Yeah, that was my.
We need to go to outer space with this.
True.
Yeah.
You need to
Well,
see
that's the
the
thing.
skybox.
You don't need an observer if you just scroll out all the way and look at the full map.
True.
Oh,
If we're
See
looking at the
everything.
full map, I just can set it aside, and we don't need to do anything.
So
Is
really
there
looking at some
any
of these.
lane matchup
Room.
that we think is going to be the most?
Look at these cheesy
Like the
guys.
one to watch, I think it has to be bot lane.
Okay.
Double engage, basically. Pretty volatile lane. Bot lane maybe good early, but I think generally it's like kind of sleeper. Maybe there's something for mid. Yeah, see bot lane already fighting level 1. Senna stacking. It's gonna feel good into melee support on enemy side.
Honestly, though, that was a really bad like hook from Thresh. Rel just needs to go in there and just gets the free ignite. You get a free Thresh flash. You just hard win it.
Ooh, that was a good hook though.
That was a good
Here's the
hook.
problem with KD is he knows how to play this and does not miss. Flash will be used from the Jinx. They use Ignite as well, but you know, I think this is one of those things where you watch KD, and if you see him how he drafts, you think, oh, this guy's a little bit greedy, wants those real big playmakers for themselves, but he always makes plays. So you question at a certain point, like, yeah, it's just worth it at this point to build around that last pick support, going for like bards, threshes when they might not be as popular because this guy can just make it work.
Mm.
Oh my God.
Oh, another hook.
Doesn't miss. Get the great shattering strike as Mel reflects as much as they can. Does
Good
get
charm.
charmed.
That's actually a really good trade for Ari in the
That
end.
was a really good trade, yeah.
Very good. And we'll have an entire spell rotation before the reflect comes back as
We
Kid
need to cleanse,
hits another one.
cleanse. Oh, we didn't cleanse.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah,
No cleanse.
Kid is very good, having played against him multiple times in scrims. High opinion of this guy. Like him a lot. One thing that I was gonna mention before the kill was that Jarvan's pathing down, but Zin isn't. So there's potentially a dive angle with them going solo. But they had other plans.
Yep, gonna have to.
Who needs jungle when you just 2v2 kill? Good strategy.
That was something that we actually talked about often when I was with the team, was when we look at pathing, deciphering is bot going to fight, and is it going to even need you, as he often averts mid lane, is not going to get the reflect, so now under turret and flash for humor will be used, but it will not matter. When becomes lightning, becomes a kill for Tyler.
That was huge.
What
And
a disaster.
That was well played.
Absolute botch in the mid wave.
I'm surprised I didn't see Humor just take it and flash forward for the last auto attack. The execute was enabled. All she had to do was land one more auto attack. But we did not. I'm a little sad about that.
I think there actually probably would have been a kill opportunity on Thresh, or at least forcing his flash, because Zinzao was bot lane there, and there's no vision behind them. That could have easily been a free kill or a free flash for the bot lane.
Yeah, I think we're seeing some of the effects of having a sub bot lane, as another hook lands into the flay, but just crash down, shield gained, walk out for Rel. Makeshift bottom lane. Even despite, obviously, the death, doing fine. But now with Zijao walking in, flash flip for Rel, taken low, might go down before the gank even really gets started. Another kill for Thresh and a flash forward for Resilient, not really needed. The lantern will be taken out, and it will end up being a 1-for-0 from the guys getting ganked. So pretty well done for Resilient and KD to hold on to Resilient, as the level increase here in mid lane is giving an angle.
One more
Oh,
Q. We just needed the last Q, and then we would have got that trade.
that was pretty well played though by Bubble. Seeing that he was about to hit level 6, he played more aggressively there, and once he hit level 6, he full send it, knowing that Mel doesn't have W.
We are a full level down. Well, kind of half a level down. Silently-ish is up a lot of CS, though, in the top lane.
Yeah, part of the benefit of being able to do a majority of your damage through the minion wave, having that built-in shielding AoE damage. I said it in the draft, Mordekaiser, great champion for the laning phase. Outside, it's really up to the individual player's execution to make it worth your while. As KD gives a bit of a 90-degree angle there. He wants to just cut off the lane, so you guys can't go past this line. Going in, he does have grass, so he's going to get a little bit of healing, but pulled back by the Mord E.
Thought he was just going to ult him there.
And just uses that W to get some sustain and health back, and going to get this early dragon, so utilizing that bot pressure to get something permanent. You always like to see that from any comp team. Kills alone don't mean much as Rel. Going to get hooked again. Already crashed down. So going to have to just walk this out, but will have enough movement speed as Super just getting bludgeoned under turret over and over and over again.
He also
Going to have to
doesn't.
back.
He also doesn't have TP, so if he backs it here, Risley loses a lot.
He is
Yeah, I
going
always-
to take that.
It's
I'm
kinda
always
so
an
cute.
Ignite hater. I'm always an Ignite hater on Shen. I understand the thought process behind it, but
Oh, they're full sending it onto this Jinx.
The bottom lane
Jinx
now,
does die.
going to get the kill onto Shen, so it is worth that he left, but the bottom lane really needs to back and swap as
Oh,
Mel
big
just gets
overstep.
Oh
Full
wow, that's a
engaged
big
on.
And
overstep.
really late center hour too.
Here comes
Other
Gluck Lord.
nightmare.
Knocked back by the Crescent Guard. He did have ultimate, so may have been able to get that kill if he didn't get knocked out of range. As Super Saiyan activates W to try and dodge the turret shot. Sound like we didn't see that super. Flipping the map here now with the 8-minute grub spawn. So it ends up not being the worst map split. They are going to have to get this set up to the top wave fast because it's starting to miss out on some gold. And while Senna doesn't really need too much economy early, just because of the way the champion is built as kind of like support-minded, certainly going to need some damage items soon, as they will be outnumbered if Senna doesn't start moving right now. Cloud is in the pit. Flash forward from Rel is going to result in the stun.
That's
God's
huge.
Glory will go down. They did get 2 grubs. Now Bubble did TP here just to kind of wave over. Just wanted to see what was going on. Teleport expended. But 2 grubs to 1 and a kill going down. This is going to continue to build this lead more and more. And Ahri not going for the Roa build, so will be useful much earlier into the game than if they were going for that other path.
You know, I think what's kind of funny to me is that like Jinx is 0-2, but has more CS and an item up on Senna.
Tyler caught out here, but no real damage coming down. God's Glory dives into the backline, jumps onto Jinx, but they're getting pincered by Ahri. No damage there now that Mel is dead. Katie trying to get them under turret. The Jinx rocket will do the damage, and Ahri ends up getting a triple kill. No gold for the poor Jinx, but so much onto this Ahri. 8 stacks on the Dark Seal, and massive gold advantage for
It's
Ahri
really-
in that mid lane.
What's really interesting to me is that it seemed like Phantom Troupe was doing so much better in the very early game, early laning. You know, the 2v2 kill for bot and stuff. But now it just seems like, you know, as we're approaching this mid game point, it seems like MZRY is just doing a lot better with the early skirmishes and like their rotations. Is this what we
Absolutely.
expected from this? Like, you know, kind of. I feel like it's definitely not with the subs, but I don't know the main rosters if they were expected to, on paper, be better or worse in lane
Well,
and make
draft
up for it with
wise,
map movements.
I would say that Ahri Jinzhou should be stronger than Mel J4 by a mile early game. So I could at least see that. And the snowballing effect of failing the dive mid lane definitely has played a large factor in the mid jungle gap, I would believe.
Yeah,
I think
now
that's
able
really
to-
the only thing that's happening.
Able to move the Ahri out of the mid lane now, put her on a side wave so Jinx can just sit mid, collect farm, try and get scaling into this game. As I don't really think anyone can contest Ahri on the side lane, so Katie is just kind of camping out up there, making sure that no one just dives onto Resilient. As Mordekaiser keeps getting fed turret plates bottom lane. Going to become a problem of their own on the side lane. Has about a 500 gold lead. Has been mounted for that top laner. And right now they're waiting for teleport. We have a dragon spawning in 17 seconds. And I think the interesting thing to note, regardless of the E-subs, is for the first dragon they lost because of the bot pressure. And in the grub fight they were late to rotate but ended up getting there in time for the fight. Anyway, Ish never back, so God's Glory in a really rough spot. He was trying to get the Groms. He uses that Cataclysm, but not going to do much. And now with the jungler down, probably going to result in a free dragon for the side of MZRY Frost.
Will state The one good thing is that since we got the first Drake and the first 2 grubs, we at least we're buying time to scale. But it's not like Jinx is a slouch in scaling either. Jinx will eventually do a ton of damage. It's just that Senna should also be able to match that damage and just outrange. And eventually Humor on Mel will become a problem. It just will take time.
These are the points in the game where you actually start to feel the ramifications of Thresh getting those early kills. Brazilian could be halfway towards the next item as the hook actually goes wide in that close combat situation. The snare is going to land. God's Glory gets a 2-man knockup, but the Crescent Guard forces Brazilian to walk in so close, but a massive Senna ultimate with the flash follow-up by Super Saiyan. Hook does not land, and neither will the snare, so it looks like Jinx might get away, but Super following under the turret takes the lantern out, and with the shield and heal, they are going to live and teleport topside for Humor. They're trying to lose nothing, and finally, Phantom Troupe find a fight that goes their way.
This just has to be a MZRY like mistake here. You're fighting without your 6-0 Ari. What are we doing? I think you just wait and let the guy who has all your kills come in for the fight.
You know, funny enough, J4 actually literally would have died to that rocket and the extra damage from Jinx had it not been for the Shen ult at the exact moment. J4 actually was 15% HP by the time all that damage came out, and he only got saved by the Shen. It actually wasn't too terrible of a fight.
I think it was a flip fight, yeah.
I think one of the big aspects of it that would go understated, if not mentioned, was not having a ton of damage for Dragon. And because it took them so long to take the Dragon down, Jarvan's able to respawn, walk all the way down, and be there for the start of the fight. If they maybe had some more DPS, obviously this isn't something you think of in a draft, but just one of those like quiet background ramifications. Not having enough DPS for the Dragon results in Jarvan being able to get there in time. There's now still 0 kills, 0 deaths, 6 assists for the Senna. If we can click on to Senna just to see a stack count, should be at or around, click and hold, it's annoying. 43. Alright, so a little bit behind. You want to be about like 50 per 10 minutes.
Is that, we want 5 per minute is the thought process?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you certainly want to be at around 100 by 25. That's like must happen. And once you get to 100, you get 50% crit just from the passive, which means rapid fire cannon IE equals 100%. Essentially turn into Yasuo or Yone. And the range gets up to above 800, and that's when the setup becomes a real nightmare.
Yeah, I know about 100 stacks being really large, just because it's the ridiculous range increase is where that starts to happen.
Yep, and they part of the buff was not only that she has a higher chance of getting souls when actually getting CS, as we see MZRY getting this Rift Herald in exchange for some mid-turret damage. Good Jinx rocket there actually to thin out that wave, making it not possible for them to get any more damage. But another part of the buff to Senna was going from 8% crit every 20 to 10% crit, which might not seem like a lot, but in the end it means it, like I said, you only need 2 crit items and you get 100%.
That's really big, yeah.
Allows you to go for the Static Shiv first item, which gives Senna wave clear, something that the champion is built to lack. And then you go for that Black Cleaver second, gives you some survivability, gives you armor shred way earlier than most champs get it. Also, of course, giving you AD and the movement speed.
And Senna has the very unique interaction with Black Cleaver to stack it up. Is it just auto Q auto? If I remember correctly, fully stacks it? Yeah.
So, and a big part about buying Black Cleaver that doesn't get mentioned, unless it's in like a competitive setting, is it's not armor shred for the person applying it. It's flat armor shred applied to the champion you're hitting. So if another AD champ hits them, they're also getting the benefit of it. So if you're playing a champ like Jarvan or Shen, who Shen less likely, but Jarvan more times, would maybe build Black Cleaver themselves just because it's got good components, got good stats for your champ, and you can use the extra damage, you can now afford to go for a bit of a greedier item, or an item that might help you more, because your AD carry is building Black Cleaver for you. So
Yeah, something
it
like
allows...
what's it called? The Sundered Sky or Steric's Gauge earlier on can just really help.
Yep. Or even getting super greedy in a comp setting and going for like early tank items, recognizing my champion isn't really meant to do damage. Let me go grab, like, I'm playing against a Jinx. Let's grab Frozen Heart. Or so I'm just, spitballing as KD flash forward hits the hook on the moving target. Cleanse has already been used. Flash will follow up as Arc, dealing with a menace known as KD the Kid, went back out the Swifty Boots, got the Locket now, so he was able to help his team out and make those flashy plays. As the next dragon has spawned, it will be a Mountain Soul. Goes to help both teams pretty equally, as I think each team's got as many armor and MR building champs as Ish. Still looking to split push and can join with teleport. Obviously Shen can join themselves using that Stand United. The vision line being pushed through very quickly. Humor and KD trying to mark off the members of MZRY, but they're pushing in so quickly. KD gets charmed right away, knocked up, and it's going to be a full fight before we know it. Crescent Guard going down, stopping a lot, but Rel has gone. The TP from Ish is very far away. God's Glory will not go down. Ish is finally here, but not before a double kill for Mel, a kill for Shen, and a triple kill in the end for Humor. Ish running away, not having done much. And another massive benefit of having this Senna on your team is the healing. Many times throughout that fight, Cloud got extremely low, but he got saved by a Locket, he got saved by a Lantern, and in the end he got saved by Senna Q ult. So it really gives you multiple dimensions to play around.
Grabbing those sums from Jinx earlier immediately allowed J4 to lock down Jinx, which allowed Shen just to taunt it up and just completely take her out of the fight. She did like 0 damage that entire team fight.
Yep. And that's something that is a massive thing that I look for in support players in this level. Is it was a minute before they were going to start Dragon, and KD just rocks up to where the Jinx is and flashes on her head. And because he's able to land the hook afterwards, he gets the cleanse and the flash, as you mentioned. And sometimes you don't even need to land the spells. You just run up to them in vision and flash on their head. They response flash, and it's little things like that if you can think of doing it, you're able to get those massive advantages for the upcoming fight. So massive play by KD there ahead of that fight. It's about a 700 gold.
Evaporated mid too.
Yeah, mid lane now even, and the Blackfire Torch being completed for Mel means going to have that damage amp throughout the course of the fight. Also means with those double mana items that on a side lane Mel can't really be messed with as Ish, taking a lot of damage, going to get snared, might have to ult just to save their own life, but not going to opt to use it. Gets dunked by Jarvan, and that could either be a free Otacon bot turret or a mid defense. As well played by MZRY to respond, but a slow onto Jinx could mean her death immediately. Crash down from Rel comes through, but it's not going to be enough. Ultimate from Senna will get the kill, and now Rel stuck under turret, ramping up. Kill goes to Jarvan, but most notably, finally a kill for Senna. Flash forward, reflects some of the damage, will end up getting a kill of their own, but utilizing the Mel W, it's not just a reflect, it is a complete damage ignoring ability. And that's what, I talked about coaching this team. Humor just said, hey, Mel's broken, you gotta pick me Rel. And I'm like, or Mel. And I'm like, Mel seems fine, it's a fine mage. But this guy just knows, exactly how to play this champion and able to turn that 2v1 around in the top lane.
I would also like to point out that Ahri had ultimate and didn't use it at all after the reflect went down. Buttons were not being pressed.
No, went for the charm at max range and was able to get it out of it.
It's low-key a free kill if he actually just presses ult.
Yeah, at least trades 1-for-1. I am surprised that we didn't take Otacon immediately, seeing the jungler topside. We didn't just send everybody bot to take it, but we do get first setup to set up vision at least for it now.
They opted to go back, spend some of that gold. Shen opting to go for that Arcanic Rooker wants to be able to side lane against Ahri or Mordekaiser. I think that's a pretty good decision, seeing as those are your side lane options as well. Just gonna kind of get hit here as Jarvan's just chilling, playing some
Okay.
stealth games, as now Xin Zhao is going to get hit by the Crest Guard, going to do a lot as Senna can't do damage, but in an instant, Xin Zhao is just going to go down. Another kill for Senna, and on the side lane, Humor just taking down turrets. They're running forward. Taunt will land onto Ish, and a lot of damage will come through, but eventually the ultimate will go down. Super Slaying stuck in the Death Realm, going to end up dead from the Mordekaiser, but the Senna ult will just be low. The Q won't go through, but another hook lands onto Jinx. So much damage coming through underneath the turret, and they will stay patient
my
as another
goodness.
hook lands. The flash will be
You
there
know the kid,
to save
man.
Rel's lives, but you know the
Big
kid,
fight top.
KD, does not miss as Humor the whole time just farming in the sideline. He goes, "What's going on down there, guys? You know, don't worry about it. You just keep pushing."
I'm pretty sure we missed one hook there, and it still hit a minion, which allowed him to immediately rejoin the fight off of the hook.
Yeah, I mean, just incredibly well played by Machi, not only in these previous couple fights, but they were down quite significantly and were able to continue to look for angles to come back into the game, recognizing that they had plenty of scaling and they still had plenty of opportunities to capitalize off of mispositions, as the ult will come through just a little too early. And Otacon going down gives them that buff, gives them the extra adaptive force, and will also give them a good amount of experiences. 34 flowers will be the count for now.
We are at 84 stacks, so still fairly behind in Senna stacks, but it is just an inevitability at this point.
Hey,
that Senna
buddy,
is
we're
going to hit
farming
100.
champions this game. Watch
Yeah.
that.
It gets to be pretty exponential once you get into the team fighting phase of the game, because you're getting those stacks throughout the entire team fight. As Humor just gets caught out mid lane, does use that W, going to get a return kill
trade, though.
onto the Jinx. Katie likes it, gives him the thumbs up, but I mean, that is not worth, I want to say, for Machi, because you do get Jinx down, sure, but if they had Ahri available down here to move, they could have maybe 4v4. And I think Mel is more important to them than Jinx is.
Yeah, the shutdown given over feels really bad too. You know, Jinx kill is all right, but they were 0-6 at the time, and the Mel kill is almost 1k.
Yeah, luckily I didn't want to pull attention. One of my least favorite things to do as a caster is talk about item choices. I feel like it's sometimes very singular and niche, and people have their own decisions. But Jinx not really knowing what to go after that Yuntal's, had the Zeal, sat on it for quite a while, and now went back and got the BF sword. So about a quarter of the way, or not a quarter, a third of the way towards IE, about halfway towards the Runan's Hurricane. So not having one of those items is pretty impactful. But
I will probably speak a little bit for Steve here, and maybe I'm wrong. This used to be a thing that I highly enjoyed back in the day. Getting IE, I mean, this is different. Yuntal's a different item, and there's a fight, so I'll be quiet.
Well,
Oh,
just
it doesn't
one
matter.
shot
It's just
on
a
the
pick.
Ralph.
I mean, before anything even happens, she's dead.
Yeah, but grabbing Zeal feels really good a lot of the time. I know this is, once again, before Yuntal, but a lot of the time you used to go BF Zeal into IE so that you at least had crit to turn on IE. Obviously, Yuntal changes that because you get a bunch of attack speed anyway from Yuntal, so you just build that item. But I don't know if that's something that Steve was working on with players about building, because I can understand both aspects. But,
Got any
you
thoughts,
know,
Mr.
okay.
Rogers?
Trying to. Yeah, he did the same thing yesterday in the scrim where he went Yuntal, Zeal into a BF sword, and I was trying to tell him that you just go into two options. You either go into IE, which is like the better power spike, and it's gonna just be better overall, more damage, and like IE is already activated. Told him you can go Rudens if it's like multiple frontline targets, but I told him like you have to pick one or the other. You shouldn't be building both components because you're just kind of putting yourself further behind. And he's just like, Yeah, he is still trying to get into the mindset that Yuntal is a different item, and unfortunately, here we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to, because that was something that Steve and I used to talk about a lot with AD carry items, so I wasn't sure if that was a different thing.
Yeah,
One of
old,
the things.
old.
One of the
Yeah,
things
Yeah.
that's
Zen on the
important to
flank
know.
here.
Yeah, Zin
Didn't
is
mean to
down
cut
there,
you
not
off,
having
but
a
it
great
looks like there's
angle.
gonna be
Great
fight.
chompers are going to go down. Rel getting a lot of damage now, but no Magnet Storm. Taunted for so long, still hasn't used the ultimate. As you know, the kid hits the locket, charges up, knockup hits 3 members. Finally a kill
One reset.
for the Jinx. But having to run away, flash forward from Mel is going to end up getting the kill with the execute on the ultimate. Double kill for Humor, flash forward, and that just would be the end of the game. Ish was side laning. Can't see whether or not that turret was taken.
Oh,
Back
shit.
ends up getting stopped by the turret, but they do kill it in the end, and not going to push for the end just yet. Jinx has been able to back and spend that gold from the shutdown. Ish has returned, and Cloud is escorting in that mid wave. Baron buff still activated. That bottom Nexus turret is gone. We have the spawning Rel. Did end up using the Magnet Storm at some point during the last fight, so it doesn't have it up just yet.
Do we end the
Pushing
game
back.
here?
Bottom is doing a lot of work. With Nexus turrets respawning, you gotta question how worth it is it to just sit here and buff up the minions. They opt to go away with Mountain Soul spawning in 1 minute, but could have been a disastrous fight for Machi. But luckily Humor returns, flashes forward, gets that big kill, and you know, a lot of that fight was just, it felt like they weren't really concise in what they wanted to do, if they wanted to stay and fight or disengage or wait for Humor. In the end, it ended up working just because they're so far ahead, but shows you there's still a chance.
We are now at 106 souls. We are at the soul threshold.
Yep.
Almost at IE.
Everything past here is just gravy. Also, Resilient. I know Humor has been a lot flashier and we talk about not getting any kills, but Resilient, 3-0-16, playing an incredible game. Ish TP's right into the middle, gets hooked, but it won't actually mean anything as Tyler gets hooked. God's Glory going in, getting a lot of damage down. Cataclysm in the front line will result in a kill, but Resilient is getting dove on by the Ahri, having to stay out, but just does so much damage at this point. Does not matter how deep Ahri dives. She does not do enough damage. And with
that
the
should be the
clean
game.
ace, that will be the game. After a rocky start to the game, it looked like they may slip to an 0-2 start. They will hold strong, and Machi will go up 1-0 in this best of 3.
A lot closer than I thought the game would be. A lot of those early game issues from the botched mid jungle dive, but
Yeah,
other
it was a
than
really
that-
good look from MZRY's side early.
yeah.
Yeah.